This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creators to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? I'm working on that. Needs to be a little shorter.
John Ross Dyke I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Episode 132. The Patreon journey. The Oscars. And black excellence that is Will Smith. Let's go.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always.
John Ross Dyke
no matter what
founder
happens,
of Still
the storm
Visionary Inc.
eventually
and creator of
ends.
the What's Next podcast,
And when the storm
dropping every
does end, you
Tuesday
want to
at
make sure
6
that you're
p.m. Central
ready.
Standard Time.
Listen, I always like to start when I see these. That's one in the cup, y'all. When I see these Kobe highlights where he's talking, I want to play those. They're very inspirational. And so, Houston, Texas, welcome back to episode 132 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. That's WHAT, no apostrophe S, NEXT, exclamation, question mark. The What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. This is a creative story, and my name is
John Ross Dyke I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
In my left hand, I have my lovely daughter. Her name is Harper Avery Ross Dyke. She just made 11 weeks last Friday. Today I was off, so I decided that every time I'm off and I'm going to podcast solo, I would like her to be in the episode. She's knocked out, had her bottle, but it's all good. As long as she can go back in time, go on YouTube, access all my accounts, and say my dad had me there at an early age. That's all that matters. But I got into Harper Avery in the process of bringing her here. Mama, you okay? Mama, relax. Relax, mama. Relate, chica. It's important. I speak to her in English and Spanish so that she can learn a little something. But I talk about the journey of her coming into the world in episode 131, HARD, which is an acronym for her name. Listen, if you haven't already, if you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Directly to my left-hand side, on Harper's left-hand side, is a trophy that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast, and I look forward to getting those back into people's hands as soon as possible, right? Last episode, I started my cup in an attempt to speak more proficiently on this podcast. I noticed that I say a lot, so I got an cup, something that I kind of borrowed from the JVP. And I already used the word so I'm going to drop $1 in it. At the end of this month, going into the second quarter, I'm going to donate all that money to St. Jude. Listen, man, the full-length episode of the What's Next podcast is available on Patreon, and you can go to www.patreon.com/John Ross Dyke and become a subscriber. And, that journey is no different from any other journey. The journey of starting a podcast, the journey of starting an acting career, the journey of becoming a realtor, the journey of becoming a teacher. It's all the same for me. But I don't know why I thought that it'd be any different. Right. And so, like I said, I've been building up to this moment in time where I was going to move the podcast to another platform to see if I can financially grow. And episode 131 was that first venture. The full episode is on there right now, by the way. It's an hour long. So whenever you're ready, subscribe to any tier I have, the Walk With Me tier, the SVI tier, the What's Next podcast tier, and the episode is there available, ready for you to check out. But the journey has not been as easy as I thought it'd be, right? And for a few reasons. The number one being that people have to spend money now. Everybody's down until they have to spend bread. That's a fact. Everybody rocks with you and sees what you're doing until you have to spend bread. And I don't blame people, because at the end of the day, money is hard to come by these days, especially in 2022. We're still on the other end of a pandemic. And so money is extremely hard to come by. So what I'm asking is, make it worth my while. Right. I'll eventually find a way to continue the podcast. Hold on, my daughter. I'll eventually find a way to continue the podcast, but this is an experiment I'm seeing, right? It has to make sense. Like I was saying in episode 131, it has to make sense. But the journey has not been, what I expected to be. Meaning at this point, 131 now, 132 episodes in, I would expect that 5 people would have become Patreons right now. But that is not the case. So I was on Instagram the other day and this video came up, and it's
I have to tell you something, a speech right now. Either you work hard for it, or you don't work hard for it.
John Ross Dyke the First, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast,
It don't come
dropping every
easy. In
Tuesday
life,
at
you have
6
to
p.m.
work.
Central Standard Time.
Either you want to be the shark of the ocean or the fish of the ocean. And right now, we want to be the shark. Take over everything. Strength, no weakness. Power, the muscle. Have to have that mindset. So you're going to come in here and dominate. When you say, oh, something wrong. No. Don't put yourself down. Motivate yourself. Keep yourself up, pumped, and ready for any challenge that comes.
I thought it was funny that the little boy looks like he's in New York City. And he mentioned his brother. His brother had nothing to say. But this little boy who looks like he was in New York City had this thick-ass Jamaican accent, right? And maybe he was born in Jamaica and then they relocated to New York City. But I thought that the message that he was saying about working hard it was timely for me when I saw it. But then too, it goes to show you that, nothing's easy, right? To create a podcast, that was a journey in itself. To continue to drop every Tuesday without any kind of financial blessings, that was a journey in itself. To take the podcast outside of Houston, that was a journey in itself as well. And so now to move the podcast to a paid platform, right, is nothing short of a journey in itself as well. So my message. Houston, what's going on? Welcome to my Patreon page. You've been asking, JR, what's going on with the podcast? Well, starting March the 15th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, full episodes of the What's Next podcast will be exclusively available on Patreon. You being here means one thing, that you're in support of me, Still Visionary Inc., and the What's Next podcast. So I'd love it if you subscribe to one of my 3 tiers. I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. See you on Patreon. It says Will Smith. During the 94th Academy Awards on March 27, 2022, Chris Rock joked about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. With a G.I. Jane reference, Will Smith walked on stage and slapped Rock across the face, then returned to his seat and told Rock twice to keep his wife's name out of your effing mouth. While later accepting the Best Actor award for King Richard, Smith apologized to the Academy and other nominees, but not to Rock. Rock decided not to press charges against Smith. Yeah, you're damn right. I don't know if Chris Rock is married, but you got to ask yourself this. Would he have done the same thing in his version? Okay, well then I guess that answers people's. Would he have done the same thing? Under the same pretense that Will Smith is under. Always relationship up for grabs. Everybody taking their turn at throwing jabs at their relationship, making memes for the sake of trying to grow their channel, for the sake of trying to grow their following. They're using that to kind of propel themselves trolling. It's just like, yo, man, I don't want to be the experience you use to propel yourself to greatness. Be great on your own. Be great on your own. You know what I mean? But congratulations to Will Smith for winning Best Actor for King Richard. Congratulations to Troy on Coda. I can't wait to watch that film. And Dune 2, I want to watch that film as well. West Side Story by Steven Spielberg, I want to watch that. It's just a whole lot of films. I saw The Power of the Dog with Kirsten Dunst in it. I want to see that one. So I got a lot of homework to do. But like I said, man, you know, me and my baby girl are here. Episode 132. If you're listening to this episode, make sure that you listen to my previous 130 episodes that were for free. I'm talking about an hour length long. And decide moving forward. Those of you that every time I've posted an episode have always ran to it, listened to it, come back to it, listen to some more, and you know you're rocking with me, come on, man, move with me to Patreon, man. You already know what time it is, right? Listen, Houston, Texas, I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. I got my daughter in my hand. It's important that she sees this. It's important that she knows that she was here, sleep or not. I stand with Will Smith. Congratulations to Will Smith. Congratulations to everybody that won something at the 94th Academy Awards. This is the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until episode 133, we gone.
I feel like 95. Sachi on my body. Biggie, jigger, puffy, all that ballin' is a hobby. And I'm wildin' in my wallet. I'm back, more way get you more way. Now that's these Spumante. My crystal ball, I see crystal. I crystal y'all with that.
Founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. John Ross Dyke I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Private party, you gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust, fuck is up.
John Ross Dyke I, founder of Still Visionary Inc. and creator of the What's Next podcast, dropping every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.